President Trump is vowing to take strong action against North Korea after the country's weekend ballistic missile test. He condemned the launch during a joint news conference yesterday with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. His message coming on the heels of a new poll that shows the majority of Americans view the president as a strong leader who keeps his promises. Joining us this morning is Kiron, the director of the Institute for Politics and Strategy at Carnegie Mellon University. What kind of action are you expecting the president to take against North Korea? It is good to see you. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Maria, as always, early in the morning. I'd like to begin by saying that the president, from what I'm hearing and reading about the White House deliberations, is thinking about economic, political, and military actions against North Korea. And when I say military, I do not mean kinetic. But, you know, putting on a faster track the THAAD missile defense system for South Korea in place. It was scheduled for later in the year. Perhaps that will be sped up in anticipation of a North Korean provocation. As you know, our new Secretary of Defense made his first trip abroad to the region and reassured the South Koreans and the Japanese of the firm American commitment to them. And then the mini summit that, if you want to call it that, President Trump had over the weekend at Mar-a-Lago with the leader Abe of Japan, those commitments were reaffirmed once more. And also, the White House has noted the U.S. commitment to Japan's security in the East China Sea, its longstanding claim to territories there that have a U.S. backing. So I think there are a range of alternatives. I think the administration will be very careful, however, on imposing economic sanctions on Chinese companies, which U.S. law does allow, that do business in the arms trade with the North Koreans. Right. I think that's something they're going to take some time to move into. But there are a lot of options on the table that do not have to result in kinetic activity and in direct war with the North Koreans.
Right. Here's Brian Brentberg.
Do you see the administration putting more pressure on China to do something about North Korea? That's always been a sensitive issue, but there's a sense here, especially with Ambassador Nikki Haley's comments just yesterday, that in fact they may put more pressure on China.
I think that's at the top of the list in terms of deliberations, and it will be done with a lot of thought. I've been reading and hearing people say, you know, President Trump's becoming a centrist and a conventional foreign policy president right away. I don't see that. His rhetoric remains strong. But I think in terms of China, you know, it's been an evolution in the last couple of weeks from what appeared to be an abandonment of the one China policy, but then a return to that view from the administration. So I think on China, they have to think through the options because they are trying to build a more collaborative and cooperative relationship. And how can sanctions or something like that be imposed on Chinese businesses without disturbing the overall new structure of the relationship that they're building? And will those sanctions actually work? So there's a lot to think about, and then, of course, the United Nations will be central, and the administration is already speeding ahead in terms of trying to get some Security Council statement about North Korea as well.
When they learned about what was happening and when they were at dinner at Mar-a-Lago, there were a lot of folks taking pictures of the president, and a lot of people were saying, like, there's the guy that has the football, and there's pictures all over Facebook and social media. To what level should folks be concerned that this kind of activity is being captured in person live right now?
That is of concern, and I think the White House will look more closely at those kinds of engagements in the future. This is early in a new presidency, and this is really one of the first presidencies that's, truly going to be infused with social media as a part of the fabric of what it does. So I think trying to figure out how to draw a bright line between reaching out to millions of Americans through social media while maintaining security is something that will get resolved very quickly in the new Trump administration. I have no doubt about that.
Let me